In this video, I'll tell you about making ellipses in AutoCAD. So ellipse is a simple mathematical curve, and in AutoCAD you can make it directly with the ellipse tool. So on the draw panel, when you expand this flyout, you'll see that we have this ellipse tool and you can make it using these two options. We also have an elliptical arc that also will look in this video. So I'll start with a simple ellipse. Now as you can see that in this ellipse, we need to enter 3 different points. So for making this ellipse, we need to start with the center point. That will be the first point as mentioned in this flyout here. And then we need to enter the second point, that will be the end point of one of the axes, and then the third point, which will be the end point of another axis. So we'll do this on this geometry. So I'll select this center end ellipse. Now obviously we need to specify the center point as mentioned on the command line. So we need to specify the center of ellipse. So that center point will be point B in this geometry. Now we need to specify the end point of ellipse, and we can take the end point as point C or point A. So let's take this point C as the end point of one of the axes. And now you'll notice that our ellipse is changing shape along with the cursor, and you can simply specify the next endpoint of the minor or major axis. So here we can specify the next endpoint of the axis as this point, or we can also specify this point as the axis endpoint. But first we'll click at this point here, and that will be the axis endpoint, and here we have it. So now the A, B, C are the points on the major axis, where A, C is the major axis, and these 2 points are of minor axis. Now if major axis and minor axis have equal length, then that will make a simple circle. So now let's erase this ellipse, and let's select the second method, which is axis end. Now in this case we need to specify the 2 endpoints of the axis. So I'll select the A point as first axis endpoint, and then point C as the second axis endpoint. And now we need to again specify the endpoint of another axis. So here in this case I'm again selecting this point, and here we have it. So the only difference between these two ellipses is, in the first case we need to specify the center and then endpoint, but in the second case we have to specify the 2 endpoints. So now let's erase this one as well. So now let's have a look at the elliptical arc. So for that I'll once again go to the flyout, and here we have this elliptical arc option. So let's select it, and now in this case also we need to first make the ellipse and then we'll convert it into an arc. So here as you can see that we need to specify the endpoint of the ellipse. Alternatively, you can also click on the center option here on the command line to start the ellipse from the center point. So I'll click on the center and then click on the center point, and now the end point of one of the axes, and here we have the ellipse. So now we need to specify the second end point, and now the ellipse has been made, but in this case the command is still active. And now you need to start the angle for elliptical arc. So click anywhere in the drawing area, and that will be the starting point for our elliptical arc. And as you can see that now our elliptical arc is being made from that point, and now you can click at any other point to end the elliptical arc, or you can also add the included angle directly on the command line. So I'll simply click here, and here we have it, the elliptical arc, which is simply a part of this complete ellipse. So in this way we can make ellipses and elliptical arc in AutoCAD.